world is changing, and so does change. But the mind has the potential to capture the changing world and make every change count. At Skillsmindset, the leading global skills, strategy and corporate development company, we believe that the mind has the potential of transforming the man from obscurity to prominence. It's the reason why we make skills our business. At Skillsmindset, we stand for change, for development and for success. We challenge, we inspire and we lead. With Skillsmindset, your limit is just the beginning. Welcome to Skillsmindset. For more information about the great service we provide, please visit our website on www.skillsmindset.com or give us a call on our UK number on 07957 676 193. Better still, send us an email on info@skillsmindset.com. Skills Mindset. Challenging limits, maximising opportunities.
Yes, wow. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. This is the Skillsmindset Masterclass for this month, November 2025. So I'd just like to welcome everyone joining us live, and to those who obviously will be watching the replay of this event on across our platforms. So we are thrilled to have you again with us for yet another, incredible, if you like, transformative session of the Skillsmindset Masterclass. As always, please share with us where you are tuning in from. Let us know the city, let us know the country, let us know exactly where your location is and your name, so that we can actually recognize and acknowledge your presence or attendance while we progress. So it's very important that we appreciate you for your attendance, and also to recognize you, so that during the time of your contributions we can actually relate with you and with your name and where you are joining in from. So it's very important that you do that. Please feel free to put in the comments your names, the country you are joining us from, and of course your city. So thank you so much for doing that. So this moment signifies a new awakening, as we always will tell you, as we'll embark on a journey together to explore the power mind results, guided by seasoned experts. This moment presents a fantastic opportunity for skills development, business advancement, professional growth, and leadership for everyone. And I also want to quickly mention that we are about 16 minutes behind time, because you will pardon us on that, because we had some technical glitch and which needed to resolve before we come live. So thank you, that has been done, and we appreciate our technical team working hard at the background to ensure that this is resolved, and it's been resolved. So we're so sorry for keeping you waiting, but we are here now, and I'm glad you are here. So let's do this together to ensure that we can get the best of this moment and share experiences, expertise, and knowledge that will help us to move our business, to the next level. So today is also a very important day. It's November. The end of this week is the last week of November, and we will be preparing for December, and the end of the year is here. So this year is gone already. But this is to also help you to prepare and to see what you can actually incorporate into your business while you are planning for the next year. Of course, for your own personal progression as well, and see where this will help you personally and where this will help you even in your business or whatever you do. Because again, this topic is so important that it will help you to eliminate some things, and it will help you to invite some things in your personal life, and it's also in your business. So this moment signifies a big awakening where we share this knowledge with our expert who is here today and can't wait but to unleash some of his knowledge in this area to help us. So today's discussion focuses on using Lean Six Sigma methodologies for continuous business process improvement, which is of course going to be using the approach of DMAIC, process to explain this. It's going to be interesting and you don't want to miss it. So please, at this moment, I think it's still a good time for you to share the link. Tell your friends, tell your colleagues, invite people around. If they're running business, small business, big organizations, please invite them, send it to them, because it's going to help them as they progress or move on to the next year, as well as they plan, they plan their business towards next year. So it's very important. It's free to the public, so you can just send them the name of the company, which is Skillsmindset. Tell them to join on YouTube. Tell them to join on LinkedIn. Tell them to join on Facebook. We are live on these 3 big platforms, and anywhere they can join, and it's free. So let them join and let them also participate. Thank you, Nicole, joining, and says hi. So I don't know where you are joining from. You'll be glad if you mention the city or the country you are joining from. But it's good. We're glad that you are here. So this season will, or this session rather, will examine high performance strategies aimed at boosting productivity and service delivery, shifting values, creating from reactive to proactive approaches. It is specifically designed for you, businesses, entrepreneurs, marketers, and growth leaders who seek to improve service quality and make a significant impact. I know that I was having a chat with the speaker, who happens to be a great friend of mine. We were having a chat around this, and to be honest, so fantastic that he can help you to into details as to how you can help your life. And I say your life because of your personal progression, and how you can also help your business grow. It's so important that, and it will save you time, it will save you money, and you will be effective. I don't want to talk because I'm not going to be preempting his slides, but you got to just get a pen, get a paper or your notebook, sit down, and while you are listening and pinning the pencil things down, please also try and engage, participate, ask questions, throw in some of your thoughts, and you easier to help you through. So our guest today is highly skilled professional in business growth and strategy. Please join me in welcoming my friend Kenneth Nkemnacho, an esteemed leader, speaker, author, and entrepreneur committed to empowering individuals for impactful leadership. And I know this because I've worked with you, I've had this sort of conversation with you many times and several times, and I know how critical you are, particularly when people are supposed to be doing something great or doing something very small. I can tell how passionate you are to ensure people can do things better, and you always want to help people to win. That's very incredible. So Kenneth is a quality improvement facilitator, project manager, an expert in process optimization, agile, and Lean Six Sigma. He specializes in transforming workflows for operational excellence, and is also an author. So we are excited and to have you here. So we extend a warm welcome to Kenneth Nkemnacho as he joins us live for this month's Skillsmindset Masterclass. So you are welcome, Kenneth. How are you today?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for the introduction, and I thank you. I do appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, we won't talk much because I know how many feathers you've got on your cap, but it's all right, but he likes to keep things simple. But he's a man that is loaded with nuggets, with information, with knowledge and experiences. So as we settle in, I'm going to ask you, as we always ask our guests here on Skillsmindset Masterclass, to share their insights about their businesses and of course their current projects. So before you go into your main presentation, do you want to take this moment to talk to us and to our listener, about your business and what is exactly the current project you are handling.
Okay.
Why people settle in. Yeah.
Thank you. Just this year, I started a Ken Vision Consulting, and Ken Vision Consulting is about helping businesses to grow, especially small and medium scale enterprises. And one of the things I'm doing on that is using Lean Six Sigma methodology, project management methodologies, continuous improvement methodologies, and all that. And there's strategies and all that to really help businesses to grow, not just businesses, but you talked about individuals. So that's one of the things I'm doing at the moment. Then secondly, I published a book on a short titled A Short Note on Passion. That was this. I published that book. It's on Amazon. Then I also did the second edition of one of my books, Be an Icon. Then there's something that we are working on, which wouldn't be out this year because of the costs involved in it. We're working on an entrepreneurial magazine called Entrepreneur Perspective. That platform is going to be a very huge platform for entrepreneurs, and both on podcasts, digital publishing, entrepreneurial magazine publishing, and all that. So there's a lot there. So comments, that's what we
Watch this space. Thank you so much, Kenneth. Thank you. I'm not sure. I think I lost count of the number of books you have published, or you have read, or you have authored, to put it that way, in the recent time, because I know that must have been your sixth or book that you are written. So that's very thoughtful and very well done for you. Thank you for doing that. So thank you. We will delve into the business of the day. All right. And I believe a lot of people are joining as well. We can see our audience joining from Facebook, from LinkedIn, and from YouTube as well. Okay, people are joining in. Thank you so much for that. Yes, so we want to dive into the business of the day. We will be discussing the importance and challenges associated with using Lean Six Sigma methodology for continuous business process improvement, and then with the introduction of what you would normally refer to as DMAIC process. So I don't want to unfold what that means, but I'll leave that with you to do. But I know that from our little discussion we've had, that Lean Six Sigma happens to be a structured data-driven methodology that is designed, primarily to eliminate waste, enhance the efficiency and quality of business processes. And I think you also mentioned from the conversation I had with that was focuses on speed and waste reduction. So consequently, or ultimately, what it's trying to do is to help an organization achieve sustainable operational excellence and high customer satisfaction. It's not only about starting our computers, it's also to help company to boost their income or to reserve or to save on wastage. In this session, we will explore the fundamental roadmap of Lean Six Sigma via the DMAIC process. So, without wasting time, we are delighted to welcome Kenneth Nkemnacho to the Skillsmindset Masterclass. So, without further delay, let us warmly welcome you to take the stage and to go for your presentation. Thank you so much, and you're welcome, sir.
by saying good evening wherever you are, or good morning or good afternoon wherever you're watching from. And I'm going to try one of the things. I have been a teacher. I was a teacher for 8 years, so it's easy for me to really explain a few things in details. And one of the things I want to do is to keep it as simple as possible, because making it too technical, it's not going to help at all. because Lean Six Sigma methodology is a very technical, statistical, and project management oriented method of making things work the way they should work. So, but when we mention statistics or when we mention project management principles, a lot of people would kind of be put off because the word statistics alone scare people. So that's why when I'm teaching something on Lean Six Sigma methodology, I try as much as possible to keep it very, very simple because it can be used by anybody. And I will be mentioning, I'm not sure, won't be able to exhaust Lean Six Sigma methodology in this class because there's so much to take in.
We're gonna have the part 2 by next month.
So there's so much to take in, but what I want to ensure is that you leave this class today holding something, not by saying, oh, this guy is very intelligent or is so good. That's not the aim and that's not the purpose, because if that's the purpose, then you are going to be lost in transit, and I don't want you to be lost in transit. And that's why I'm going to be very calm. I'm going to explain, even if it's just 5 slides I'm able to explain today. At least I want to be sure that you take something away that you can use yourself, because if you can use one of the tools yourself, then it means that my job is done. You don't have to be able to apply every tool, but the simplest of the tools you can use, because the purpose of this is to help improve whatever you're doing. So that's the purpose. So today I'll be talking about using Lean Six Sigma methodologies for continuous business process improvements, an introduction to the DMAIC process. We call it, although it is DMAIC, but in a short form, we call it DMAIC. Now, what is Lean Six Sigma? Now, before I even share that, you see that Lean, you look at the language, Lean Six Sigma. Now, I'm going to get off this so that you are listening to me properly. Now, Lean Six Sigma is a combination of 2 methodologies. 2 methodologies. One is the Lean, and the second one is the Six Sigma. So let's go to that page now. One is the Lean, and the second is the Six Sigma. Now, what is Lean? What is Lean? Now, the focus on Lean, number 1, is to completely eliminate waste. To eliminate, not to reduce waste. The purpose of Lean methodology isn't to reduce waste. It is to eliminate it completely. And I will give a further explanation on that as we go ahead. So the number 1 aim of Lean is to completely eliminate waste. Number 2 is to improve your process flow. And I will come to that because I don't want you to be lost and say, oh my God, he's using some strategic languages. No, every language that's used here is something that you are used to. It's something that is common with you. So don't, when I use a language, I'll break it down. So as I go further, I'm going to be breaking down all the languages that I'm using. So number 1 is to eliminate waste. Number 2, let's talk about eliminating waste. For instance, if you go to if in your business you always buy, maybe if you sell bottled water, for instance, and you find that, because I'm going to tell you what waste is, because sometimes we don't even understand the meaning of waste. And I have not put that in this slide, but I'm going to, in the future, when we have the next class, I will explain to you what waste is. But let me just finish talking about this. So number 1, to eliminate waste. Number 2, to improve process flow. Number 3, to deliver value to the customer faster. You want to deliver value to the customer faster. Now, anything that does not add value to a customer is a waste. It might be, I'm going to tell you something. Let me tell you this story. When I was in Nigeria, where I'm here in London, so I need you to know my location, because we also want to know your location. When I was in Nigeria, in the city of Lagos, we used to have an elderly man that was a DJ. You know, we call him Baba West. And this man would play some African music. He was in love with African music, but he did not bother to ask himself, what are people looking for? What are people looking for? Because it is what people are looking for that matters. That's what's going to grow your business. It's not about what you like. And unfortunately, there are lots of people that if they want to go into business, the first thing they look at is, I admire this. I like to do this. It's not about what you like to do. It's about what people are looking for. Now, this man loved to play African music. He loved to play the Yoruba music. He loved it. He danced to it and all that. May God bless his soul. May he rest in peace. You know, he's late now, you know. But the generation that he was attending to wanted something more current, more trendy. He would spend money buying the kind of LPs that he wanted, not what the people wanted. Do you know that if people don't want it and you buy it, it's a waste? Even if it has value, does it have value to the customer? Does it add any value? Are the customers seeing it as value? So it's a waste. You know, so Lean Six Sigma will help you to actually eliminate waste. Now, the second part of Lean Six Sigma is Six Sigma. There are some words that are being used here on the slide, but I'm going to also break it down. It says Six Sigma focus. Now, it says Six Sigma focuses on reducing variation. Now, variation, in effect, is called defects or correction. It's called defects or correction. That's variation. And I'm going to explain that a bit more so that you understand. Because in another class, I'm going to use a graphical representation to show what variation is. I will use what they call the standard deviation to show what variation is. But in a simple language, variation means correction or defects. And I'll give you an illustration. Recently, I made a clothes. I sent my measurement to one of the tailors. I'm not going to mention the tailor's name. I sent my measurement to the tailor and I said, make me a top and make me a bottom. When the clothes came to me, when it got to me, I wore the trousers. It was looking very nice, so beautiful. Before I wore the top, I noticed that the top was looking beautiful. The material was fantastic. I loved it. But the moment I put it on, oh my God, it was too tight. Apparently, the tailor did not use the right measurement that I sent to her to make the top. And immediately I called her on WhatsApp. I said, what you made for me, the top, it's too tight. She said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, sir. What happened was that so and so tailor, maybe we wanted to be very quick. Unfortunately, we used the wrong measurement. Do you know that with a wrong measurement, that is defect? That defect requires correction. That defect means that there's a wrong variation. there's a massive variation from the measurement, the exact measurement, to what they actually made for me. That's a waste. It's a waste because they are going to spend man hour. Imagine how many hours it will take them to make a new one for me. Imagine the amount that the clothes will cost. Imagine the loss in trust from the customer. So it's not just making the wrong clothes and making corrections and all that. How about the customer trust? There's a large variation between the measurement she was given and the final clothes that she actually made. And one of the things that Six Sigma methodology does is to ensure that defects are reduced, corrections are reduced, and variations are reduced. So with that, there's an improvement in the quality of what you're doing when you reduce defects. So I used the tailor as an illustration, the clothes that I made recently as an illustration. So if you are able to reduce a variation, if you are able to reduce defects, if you are able to reduce corrections, you are heading towards improving quality, which is the next point on the slide. When you reduce variation, you are heading towards improving quality. And one of the things in Six Sigma methodology is that you use data and statistics to find out and fix the root causes of defects. Like when I say data, don't be scared when I say data. The measurement of the clothes that I took, if let's say the sleeve was, I don't know how what my sleeve is, let's say it was like 17 inches, for instance. I'm just using that hypothetically. You know, that 17 inches is a data. If my waist is 36, inches, that 36 inches is data. If my neck, for instance, is 12, that 12 is data. So you see that me taking the measurement, I took a measurement of my clothes, my trousers, everything, all those measurements are data. So when we say we use data and statistics to fix the root causes of problems in Six Sigma methodology, that's what we mean. So if I write all of those measurements on, let's say, an Excel sheet, somebody who has a phobia for mathematics or for numbers sees those numbers, they'll say, oh my God, this is very mathematical. Meanwhile, I'm just talking about the measurement from a tailor, which is data itself. So one of the things that Six Sigma methodology does for you is that it reduces variation between the measurement, the actual measurement that is meant to be, from the defects. So when you are able to do things the right way, according to the exact measurement it is meant to be, what's happening is that you are reducing variation, you are reducing defects, and you are reducing correction. Now, let me give an example of wastes. For instance, I mentioned correction. Correction is a waste. Do you know that keeping inventory as well is a waste? Inventory. That was why Toyota brought in lean methodology, because they wanted to reduce inventory. But in the next class, I'm going to focus on what we call Tim Woods. That talks about the types of wastes as highlighted by Toyota. But let's go ahead. Now, what does DMAIC methodology do? What is DMAIC methodology? When I say DMAIC, the D stands for define, the M stands for measure, the A stands for analyze, the I stands for improve, and the C stands for control. So that's what it is. Now, if there's a problem in a business, in a specific business process that you've embarked on, you need to be able to define what the problem is. You need to be able to define it first of all. Number two, you need to be able to measure that problem. You have to be able to measure that problem. Number one, define the problem. Because if you don't know what the problem is, how are you going to solve the problem? So you must first of all define the problem. So number two, measure the problem. If you can't measure the size of the problem, how would you be able to know the size of the solution? You wouldn't be able to know. So you need to measure the problem. Now you need to analyze the problem. That's what they call the root causes, to know the root causes of the problem. Because it's not enough. If I gave an example of my tailor that made the wrong size of clothes for me. If we need to dig into the root causes of that problem, we can look and say, okay, what happened? We have to look back and say, what actually happened? What led to the tailor making the wrong size of clothes for me? Number one, it could be that she does not document the sizes of the measurements that she takes from people. Maybe not proper documentation. It could be, if we have to investigate, it could be that she just wrote the measurement on a piece of paper and she lost it. And she just assumed, maybe from my pictures on the social media, that this should be the size of the man. And they decided to go ahead to make it. That could be one of the root causes of the problem. Now, it could be that she did not have enough clothes material to make it. She just decided that, well, on assumption, this material I have, the size of this material I have, should be able to make the clothes for this man. It could also be that the tailor, maybe she wasn't the one that made it herself, that she gave it out to one of her staff to make. And that staff probably did not even look at the measurements and decided to start doing something else. It could be that they don't have a well-defined method of operation, maybe standard operating procedure. No standard operating procedure. So I'm talking about looking at the root causes of the problem. That's one of the things that Lean Six Sigma methodologies do for you. It helps you to look at the root causes of problems. So you define, you measure, then you analyze. Now, when you do your analysis, what happens? After doing your analysis, you find out what the issues are. Then you say, okay, we need to improve on what we're doing. We need to make an improvement. What improvements do we need to make to ensure that this problem does not repeat itself? You have to look at that. Then you start doing brainstorming. You are brainstorming, okay, on the issue of the tailor, for instance, you brainstorm, okay, number one, we probably have to document our measurements better. No writing on paper anymore. At least we have our phones. We can document the measurement of customers on the phone. That's one solution, brainstorming. Number two, we can actually set up a WhatsApp group, and any of the customers that we have that sends their measurements, we can put that on that WhatsApp group. So we can easily go there to check the sizes of that person. That's brainstorming. You can go ahead and say, okay, in making clothes, can we just sit down and write a standard operating procedure? Okay, we may say for the standard operating procedure, before we make clothes, there must be a second person to verify the sizes, the measurements. You get someone else, okay, so and so, John is going to make the clothes, but Mary is going to meet with John and say, okay, let's verify the measurement. Those may be improvement procedures. You know, you come up with improvement procedures. Then when you come up with improvement procedures, like in the hospitals, for instance, what they do is that when they want to administer a controlled drug, it's because of the risks involved. What they do is that there must be a second nurse verifying that that medication is the right one to be given to that patient. They can use the same methodology, maybe in that fashion shop, to say, okay, before we make the clothes, let there be a second person verifying. That may be an improvement initiative that would be used in that stage of the make. Now, when you finish improving, you have to control the improvement. You can't say, okay, we finished the improvement, that's the end. It doesn't work like that. You must monitor and review and analyze the improvement to ensure that it is working. Like, we go back to the issue of the tailor. If the tailor creates an SOP, designs an SOP, standard operating procedure, if the tailor says, okay, there must be a second verifier to ensure that the measurements are fine. If the tailor says, okay, we must have a WhatsApp group to get the names and the measurements of all the customers that we have. Those are improvement initiatives. Those are interventions. But how about ensuring that over the years, in the next 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, the procedures, the improvements they have made will continue working? It is a control process that helps you to ensure that there is continuity in terms of those interventions that have been made. You can decide to say, okay, how do we do the control? For instance, let's say you have a standard operating procedure. You monitor how many. I have 10 tailors that work with me. How many tailors actually read the standard operating procedure? You can decide to do a random check, a random auditing, and say, okay, tailor B, can you come to my office? In number 5 of the standard operating procedure, what is there? In number 2, what is there? That's how you control, to ensure that all the interventions that you have put in place are actually working. So I hope I've been able to give you a background, that because these are just background. It's not as easy as I've said it, but I just wanted you to have a basic understanding of what Lean Six Sigma methodology is. So let's carry on. Like I said, what does Lean Six Sigma do? Number 1 is streamlines processes. It's going to streamline processes. Number 2, it will remove inefficiencies. Number 3, it will reduce errors, then improve customer satisfaction. Imagine the tailor doing that, all the things that I've mentioned, using a Lean Six Sigma methodology. What's going to happen? There will be an improved customer satisfaction. I was not satisfied that I didn't get the right size of clothes. But imagine that error being corrected. Imagine that improvement being controlled over the months and over the years. There'll be an enhanced customer satisfaction. Then it will save time and money as well. It will save time and money. Just the cost of correction. Imagine that. The cost of correction. For instance, you order something from Amazon, and instead of the seller sending you the exact thing you ordered, the seller sends you the wrong thing, and there's a return policy. You return it back to the seller. Who incurs the cost of shipping back to the seller? Is the seller that incurs the cost. And the seller will also have to resend the right thing to you. Or probably you say, okay, refund my money, I don't want to buy anymore. Who is losing? In terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of losing patronage, the trust of people. You understand? So then the cost, the money and the time as well, then it improves quality and consistency. When you use Lean Six Sigma methodology, it lowers operational costs. I'm going to tell you a story about Toyota, which is very exciting, but I saved that for the slides down because you will love it. What Toyota does with Lean Six Sigma methodology. So it increases speed and responsiveness. Then it builds a culture of continuous improvement, what Toyota calls Kaizen, what the Japanese people call Kaizen. Kaizen means continuous improvement. You know, I remember, I will use my son as an example because even in academics, you can also use Kaizen. When my son, God bless him, is in the university now. When he was in secondary school and I teach him, I say, okay, if you don't understand this topic, what do? You go back and keep researching and you keep studying. I said, if let's say you don't understand 50% of it, when you continue to study and continue to learn and you improve by 5%, then you know that you have 45% to go. You don't stop where in that 5% improvement. You go further, improve again, maybe by 10%. That's 15%. You stabilize yourself on that 15%. When you have stabilized yourself on that 15%, you go further again and add another 5 or 10%. I said that is what is called continuous improvement. I said in Japan, they call it Kaizen. Kaizen means continuous improvement. And if you do that in business, imagine how much you'll be growing if you continue to use Kaizen. That's what Toyota does. Let's go to the next slide. Now, which industry is Lean Six Sigma commonly used? It's used in manufacturing, in short, healthcare. I do a lot of work for the NHS, the National Health Service. I do a lot of continuous improvement methodology work for the National Health Service and project management as well, digital project management and all that, because I have a black belt in Lean Six Sigma methodology and I have a Prince 2 practitioner certification in project management. Besides I'm not talking about qualifications. I just want to mention that so that you know that I know what I'm saying. So in the whole of the National Health Service in the UK, quote me, I'm saying it, every hospital, every NHS trust in the UK have embraced they've embraced there's no NHS hospital in the UK that's not using Lean Six Sigma methodology. It's used in finance, it's used in supply chain. The government everywhere is using it. It's used in IT and software. So these are places and far beyond. That's where they use Lean Six methodology. Now let's go to the origin of Lean Six Sigma. This is where the story is. The origin of Lean Six Sigma. Now, Six Sigma was started by Motorola. Six Sigma was started by Motorola in 1986. By someone called Bill Smith. He was an engineer at Motorola. He was the one that started Six Sigma. Let me tell you, Six Sigma is more statistical. I must be honest with you. It's more statistical, but you can apply, you can use the simplest step. There are very simple steps in Six Sigma, and there are also very complex steps in Six Sigma. What I always advise people is this. What I always advise them to do is this. Someone is writing something. Given the dynamic nature of the environment, may we not be talking about adjustable continuous improvement? Yeah, of course. Because the thing, see, there's something. Let me see who's asking the question. Sorry, my glasses. Adebiyi Abosede 6066. Yeah, thanks for that question. Adjustable continuous improvement. Let me tell you, there's something I always talk about when it comes to Lean Six Sigma methodology and project management. There's a principle in project management because Lean Six Sigma and project management work hand in hand. Lean Six Sigma and project management work hand in hand. And there's a principle in project management that says tailored to suit the environment. Tailored to suit the environment. That's why if you are talking about project management or Lean Six Sigma methodologies, you don't like say, oh, it must be a book theory. You look at the environment that you are and you tailor the principles, you tailor the themes, you tailor the tools and methodologies to suit the environment. That makes it very adaptable and very adjustable when it comes to continuous improvement. I think someone else is asking a question. Let me see. Okay. No, that's not the question. I hope I've been able to answer that question. So you tailor to suit the environment. Now let's go ahead. I said Bill Smith, an engineer at Motorola, started a Six Sigma methodology in 1986. So Six Sigma was created as a data-driven method to reduce defects and improve process quality. Defects means correction. Defects means correction. That's what it means. So if you are doing Lean Six Sigma, they talk about the cost of defects and they talk about the cost of correction. So anywhere you hear defects, just say correction. That's what it means. Like in the case of the clothes that the tailor made for me that was not good, that was a defect, and it required correction. So then Lean was developed by Toyota, like I said before. Lean was developed by Toyota by key figures like Taichi Ono, Shigeo, those pronunciations, and other Toyota leaders. It was developed between 1950s and 1970s. Now, let me tell you a quick story about what Toyota does. Now, if Toyota does not keep inventory, Toyota does not keep inventory. That's number one, because they consider inventory as a waste. Toyota does not overproduce. Toyota considers overproduction as a waste. They don't say, okay, there might be a high demand in the next 12 months, and there might be short supply of raw materials, this, that. Therefore, let us produce an additional 200 cars so that if there's a high demand within so and so period, we can supply those cars. Toyota does not do that. They don't overproduce. They don't keep inventories. And they stuck to that culture for years. Now, Toyota does not overprocess. They don't overprocess because they consider inventory, overproduction, overprocessing as wastes. That's what they consider. If, for instance, the dashboard you are supposed to use like let's say you are supposed to spend 1 hour doing a dashboard. Toyota is never going to spend 1 hour 20 minutes doing it. They won't overprocess because they have their own standard operating procedure that they use. So another thing they consider as waste is defect. I've been emphasizing on that. Waste is defect or correction. That's one other thing they look at. So they have different things that they consider as waste. So if somebody places an order, if a customer places an order with Toyota, and maybe let's say a customer in Bangladesh places an order and says, okay, we want 200 Toyota cars. They ask the customer, when do you want it? The customer says, I want this car in the next 6 months. Okay, do you want it produced on that day in the next 6 months, just at the end of 6 months produced, or do you want those 200 cars to get to your warehouse in the next 6 months? by the end of that 6 months, you say, okay, we want it. If the customer says we want those cars to be in our warehouse exactly that at that 6 months, do you know what Toyota do? Do you know what they do? They do a calculation. What will it cost to do this? Who are our suppliers for all the raw materials that we need? How many people do we need to manufacture that? How many assembly plants do we need to do that, to achieve that purpose? They do all of that, and they do a calculation. The day that the production will start, that is the day that the suppliers will provide all the materials needed to make those cars. You won't supply those materials 24 hours before that day. The day they need it, that's the day you supply. That's the agreement they have with their suppliers. That same day you supply. The moment you supply those materials, straight they take them into the assembly plants. They start manufacturing. The day they finish production, the whole of those cars is leaving the assembly plant immediately that same day and is being shipped straight to Bangladesh where they need it. You go to their assembly plants, no inventories, no cars, nothing. That is one of the ways that Toyota eliminates waste, because they consider inventory as a waste. Although it has got its own weaknesses, but it has worked for them for years. And because it has worked for them for years, people are beginning to embrace it. Even these days, America like to feel like they are responsible for everything. They were the ones that introduced everything. There's a debate in America that, we started lean methodology. But actually, it was Toyota that started lean methodology. America is trying to claim it, but it's not America. It's well documented that Toyota actually started it. There's another question. Let me see. Exactly. It started with JIT. Yeah, just in time. I'm happy that someone here understands what a lean methodology is. It started with just in time, and that was why they came up with the 7 types of waste. What do they even call waste? They call it muda. If you go to the Toyota website today, you will see everything on their glossaries. Muda is one of the things they have on their glossaries. They call it the 7 types of muda. Muda is called waste in the Japanese language. So they eliminate those 7 wastes. That's what Toyota do. That's what they do. Okay, let's move ahead. So, like I said earlier, Lean Six Sigma is a combined methodology. The two were formally combined in the 1980s and 2000s. They were formally combined. It used to be a standalone continuous improvement methodology, the Lean and the Six Sigma. But later, people came together. It was general. Okay, this is where America is claiming that they are responsible for it. Because what happened was that General Electric in the US decided to bring the two together, Lean and Six Sigma together, to make Six Sigma methodology. So that was what happened. Now, why Six Sigma? That's the question. Why Six Sigma? Why do they have to use the word 6? Which means if there's 6, there must be 1 sigma, there must be 2 sigma, there must be 3 sigma, 4 sigma, 5 sigma, then 6 sigma. So why do they use the word 6 sigma? Now, there's what they call defects per million opportunities. Defects per million opportunities. When I go to the next slide, you're going to see that defects per million opportunities. What does that mean? Now, there's a calculation that is done that in 1 million chances, in 1 million productions, how many defects will you get if you use 1 Sigma methodology, 2 Sigma methodology, 3 Sigma, 4 Sigma, 5 Sigma, or 6 Sigma? How many defects will you get? The number of methodologies you use, the number of Sigma that you use will determine the amount of defects you will get in 1 million chances. For instance, if you are meant to make 1 million shirts, if you are using 1 Sigma, how many mistakes are you going to make in 1 million shirts, in producing 1 million shirts? If you are using 2 Sigma, how many mistakes or defects are you going to make in using 2 Sigma methodology? If you are using 6 Sigma methodology, how many defects or corrections are you going to make? It will shock you when we move to the next slide. Now, let's go to the next slide. If you use 1 Sigma methodology in 1 million chances, you are likely to make a defect of 690,000 if you use in 1 million chances. So you are likely to make a defect of 1 million defect per million, 690,000 defects per million opportunity. That's approximately. Now, if you use 2 Sigma methodologies or 2 Sigma methodology, you are likely to have approximately 308,000 defects per million opportunities. If you use 3 Sigma, you are likely to make 66,800 defects per million opportunities. If you advance it to 4 Sigma, you are likely to have 6,210 defects per million opportunities. If you use 5 Sigma, imagine the reduction, drastic reduction. If you are using 5 Sigma, 230 defects per million opportunities. Then look at 6 Sigma. You are just having 3.4 defects per million opportunities. 3.4. Only 3.4 defects per million opportunities. This is why it is very advisable to use a Lean Six Sigma methodology. 1, you are reducing wastes. You are eliminating wastes. 1, you are eliminating waste. 2, you are using a 6 Sigma that gives you only 3.4 defects per million opportunities. That's it, if you're doing that. So now let's go to introduction to DMAIC methodology. If you have questions, just put them down. And please, Gbenga, let me know when I'm meant to round up so that I won't keep.
Yeah, I think before we go into this, thank you so much, Kenneth, for the insight into this this presentation. It's been helpful, it's been insightful, and also educative. There are a few remarks. Remarks and comments, if you like, or perhaps questions. I'm not sure if it's better to look into that before we see what you can do to. And of course, let me just acknowledge the attendance of my Professor Adebi Abosede. Was the one who raised the comments that you read out. It's Johnny from Nigeria. It's good to see you here, sir. God bless you. Welcome. Yes, there are a few remarks here. Let me just go straight to his own first, and then others will come. If the first thing he said in terms of when you started off, and each was able to join us, he said if the two, in terms of introducing the topic is based on statistics, like you said, I think that it will be helpful by explaining the importance of statistics, because that's where you wanted to break it all down to ensure that people can understand, so that the word statistic will not be a deterrent to people to say, oh, well, if it's about statistics, it's not that simple then. So like you said, in terms of data is a big word, but what it means is what people use every now and then, So anyway, that's that one. And then he also commented on this as a variation in terms of when you're talking about variation, in terms of being significant. Since there could be a variation that won't amount to, that won't amount to waste. And then, of course, you have seen the other two, he said. So this is also a question. He said lean should also have, it's a comment, lean should also have threshold. Actually, I was going to raise something like that how do you, and the statistics you showed last actually helped in terms of attempting to answer this, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be a threshold, as to what you want to talk about, waste or eliminate as well. Yes, so those are the things. I think there's another one here. I'm not sure if you're making notes or you want me to repeat them.
No, I will respond.
And I also talk about, you said they need to differentiate between these symptoms, which is effect, and of course problems, which is causes. I think you were talking about that at some point. Yes, and also that will lean in one activity not lead to increase in cost of at any point or at a point. And, yes, those are the things that he said before you picked it. So, but of course, there is one question here.
Hold on, let me put this.
Okay.
The cause and effect.
Which one do you want to?
Cause and effect. Then there was one before the cause and effect.
Yeah, this one. No, this one will
lead. Oh yeah, not lead to increase in cost at a point. That's very good.
And the threshold one, I think you will talk about that.
Yeah.
Then variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variation.
Yeah.
So maybe we should look at that before we see, because at the end of the day, if we are able to, touch on these areas and people can benefit from your responses to those areas, I think if that takes us till around 9:30, then we may look at maybe doing the second part, maybe starting from the introduction at the next Skillsmindset Masterclass. Yeah, but we see how we go. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for that, Gbenga. And let me even begin with the issue of data. And when I first started, I said Lean Six Sigma is very technical, but I don't want to scare people because there are also some very simple steps that can be used for continuous improvement. They are very, I won't lie, they are very technical sometimes, in certain aspects, especially regarding some of the tools that will be used. For instance, if you talk about, there's what we call the measurement system analysis, where measurement system analysis, where we look at repeatability and reproducibility. And if you're looking at that, you talk about the difference between precision, and there's a word I want to remember, precision, when I remember, I'll say that. But it's all based on process capability. It's all based on process capability. There are areas in that, where you look at some very technical aspects of Lean Six Sigma. There's also what they call the design of experiments. If you want to test the tools Like there was some time ago, I was in a meeting of the Southeast Coast Ambulance Services Divisional Governance meeting, and one of the senior managers talked about how the process they used in employing people haven't given them the right candidates. So I said to him, why not have you tested the tools? Have you tested the tools that you make use of in recruiting people, subject to what we call design of experiment? You know, he said, oh, Ken, that's what we have to look at. That's what we have to look at. These are the complex or the advanced Lean Six Sigma methodologies, you know, that's used. But for people who are not used to Lean Six Sigma, you wouldn't suggest some things like that to them, because it will kind of defeat the purpose of helping people to improve their businesses, because there are also very simple skills. Like in terms of data, we know that nominal data, rational data, interval data, it depends on the kind of data you have for you to be able to, whether quantitative or qualitative, for you to be able to solve some problems. But these are for people who are advanced in Lean Six Sigma methodologies. But you can also use different tools like the driver diagrams, you know, that's more qualitative in nature, like beside the ease impact matrix, you can use that. You can use this SIPOC, you can use the 5S, you can use some of these simple things, even process mapping, you know, the simple flowchart diagram to determine where there's an error or where there's a defect in the processes that you use in fulfilling an assignment or a task. So those things are there. But the main thing is that how can people actually use the simple techniques, these simple methodologies to advance their own businesses without looking at the rigors involved in Lean Six methodologies, because it goes from the very low tools to the very high tools. So those are the things. So for people like Professor, who is very advanced in education and very advanced in the use of Lean Six Sigma methodology, we can talk about design of experiment. We can talk about measurement system analysis, capability processes, and all that to test tools that are used. But for simple businessmen on the street who don't want too much knowledge in statistics, or they don't have it, they can use the simplest tools to still achieve the purpose that they want to achieve and get results. Because no matter what you do, you will also get results if you use the simplest tools. You know, like if you are doing a root cause analysis, for instance, sometimes you don't need too much statistics to achieve that. You don't need too much statistics to achieve that, you know. So like I talked about the use of the driver diagrams, for instance, like failure mode and effect analysis, you do the XY matrix. Those are simple things, a few of the simple things I can make use of. Even brainstorming, you know, brainstorming is one of the tools that is used in Lean Six Sigma methodology. The 5 whys, in short, that reminds me, the 5 whys. Like I talked about the issue of the top that the lady did not make properly. You ask yourself, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Like, why did she make the wrong clothes? Oh, did she get the wrong sizes, the measurement wrong? Okay, let's assume that she got the measurement wrong. That's why then you ask yourself, why did she get the measurement wrong? She got the measurement wrong because she was not paying attention when the measurement was being taken. Then you ask yourself, why did she not pay attention when the measurement was being taken? Oh, because there was a loud music because there was a loud music, so the music distracted her. Then you ask yourself again, why was there a loud music? There was a loud music because it was within their policy that they want to entertain the customers or their clients, this, that. So why does the music have to be loud for them to entertain their customer? You keep asking the questions until you get to the very problem statement. These don't require statistics. Well, I will be very cautious in the use of that language, that it does not require statistics, but because it does. There was one PowerPoint slide that was prepared for one of the NHS trusts in the UK here, and I looked at the power slide. In the power slide, they said there was a quote there that if you don't use data, you are just another person with an opinion. I told them, but an opinion is a data. So you're getting that wrong. An opinion is a data. It's a qualitative data. And a feeling, experience, opinions are all qualitative data. So if you're telling me that this, that does not, the 5 whys are data. They may not include numbers, but they are qualitative information, so which are very important. Now, the cause and effect thing, that's why we do the root cause analysis. Because if you do root cause analysis, like I talked about the 5 whys used in doing root cause analysis, you talk about the driver diagrams, 5 whys driver diagrams, 5S, SIPOC. These are all very important, simple techniques, simple tools that can be used in Lean Six Sigma methodologies without you breaking sweat. You don't have to have a normal distribution curve like in the variation aspect of it, talking about variances. But if you can use the simple tools like ease impact matrix, probability impact grid for risk analysis, risk management, you use there's what to call a Moscow. If you're doing a project management, you are using that as a prioritization tool, like what must have, could have, or should have, or would have. You use that. What must we have in this project? What must we have? What should we have? What could we have? What wouldn't we have? You use that as a prioritization. And when you do that, it helps you a lot in eliminating some things. Then again, there's what we call a Pareto analysis. Pareto. When you hear Pareto, you think it's just for prioritization. You are talking about the things that are most important. You put them graphically in a bar chart, and from left to right, which the ones on the left-hand side are the highest, the ones on the right-hand side are the lowest. So you're able to use that to say, okay, how do I do this? What should I attend to first? Like there was a time I did a job for was it Sussex Partnership NHS Trust, and I did an analysis of their 10-year incidents, mental health act incidents, and I wanted to do a deep dive to understand what the part of the sections of the mental health act that was contributing more to the incidents that they have at Sussex Partnership NHS Trust. And when I finished the analysis, data analysis, I used a Pareto chart to be able to determine which ones are contributing most. Then I said, okay, section 5.2, section 5.3, section 3, section 2, these are the ones contributing most. A simple bar chart, which is a Pareto analysis. But when you hear Pareto analysis, you think, oh, it's one kind of a huge thing. I'll understand when people are talking about the SPC chart, the statistical process control chart, that's a bit complex. But Pareto is just a simple bar chart that anybody can make use of to determine to do prioritization. So if you do a root cause analysis, that will be able to help you, like to do the cause and effect thing. Now, Professor asked, will Lean not lead to increase of costs on the long run? I mentioned that when I was talking earlier. I said it has got its own weaknesses, and there's no methodology or model or framework that does not have its own weaknesses. But the thing is that because it is working, that's why the world has embraced it. Lean has got its own problems. It has got its own weaknesses because it's not always perfect. There are periods that there will be a problem. For instance, during the COVID period, in the UK, Primark does not sell online. That was their policy. They don't sell online before COVID, pre-COVID. That was why they were not able to make a penny throughout the COVID months that there was a lockdown. After COVID lockdown, Primark management began to rethink. We can't carry on like this. There must be a change. Now Primark is online. That's to tell you that there's no methodology or framework that is perfect. Lean has got its own problem. Because what if there's shortage in supply chain? Look at the supply chain. There are periods that there will be shortages in supply. If you say you don't keep inventory, for instance, and you run out of supply within that period there's an issue with the supply chain, how are you going to do it? So it has got its own problem. Within that period, there will be an increase in costs. What if it's cheaper within a certain period and you are meant to keep inventory? The raw materials you're using is cheaper within a period. You say, no, we don't keep inventory. So we are not going to buy. We are not going to keep. Who are you doing? You're doing yourself, because it will end up increasing the cost of production when you don't buy when it's cheaper. So there's an issue with that, but like I said earlier, it has worked for them over the years. Toyota is one of the biggest industries in the world. And because it has worked for America to embrace something and even try to claim ownership, you know that thing is working. You know that it's working. So that's it. Then in terms of variances and standard deviations, I know, especially if you, and this is for the academic minds, and this is for those who are statistical in their thinking, you cannot control a process without the voice of the process and the voice of the customer. The voice of the process and the voice of the customer comes with standard deviations. It comes with variances. Like, for instance, if you are doing a statistical process control chart that is used in Lean Six Sigma methodology, you calculate the upper control limit and the lower control limit. And that's about 3 standard deviations apart. And if your interventions are within those upper and the lower control limits, it means you are controlling the process. I'm not saying this to people who don't understand statistics. I'm saying it to people like Professor who understand statistics. If your interventions after monitoring and reviewing and gathering data fall within the UCL and the LCL, it means your process, your interventions are within control. It means it is working. Because we calculate, if you want to calculate the UCL and the LCL, you use 3 standard deviations. Usually that's the rule of thumb. You use 3 standard deviations to do the calculations, then you draw your chart. And if it's like, for instance, when I was for the Southeast Coast Ambulance Services, I was doing a statistical process control chart for the auditing of the emergency operations centers, the 111, then the 999 calls. And I saw that because we had an issue, although I don't want to delve more into statistics, because even the SPC chart has got its own problems. It has got its own problems. The reason I say it's got its own problems is because the mean calculation calculation for an SPC chart comes from the data itself. That's why if I want to set, you cannot preset a target. If you are using an SPC, you cannot preset a target. But if I'm using a run chart, I would be able to say my target is 100%, my target is 99. So I do a time series on a time chart, on a run chart. That's where I prefer a run chart compared to an SPC, a statistical process control chart. Let me not go more because I don't want to discourage people listening to this, but these are more advanced statistical and Lean Six Sigma methodology stuffs. Someone has put something.
Yeah.
Okay, Professor said Go programming helps to optimize rankable goals without violating the. I agree. Definitely agree. I agree.
Yes.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and if continuous, like in the case.
Yeah, like in the case of Toyota, there can be transfer defects from their definitely, probably the reason for withdrawing certain models from the market. But Prof, I must tell you that it's not only Toyota that's withdrawing some models from the market as well. You know, Suzuki has done it, Mercedes has done it, Jaguar Land Rover. I did a research on Jaguar Land Rover in China. You know, that was some years ago. I looked at how Jaguar Land Rover is performing in the Chinese market. And I saw that there was a point that even the Chinese people who bought most of the JLR products were going in front of their warehouses to protest because there were defects. You know, if they are not using Lean Six Sigma methodology, there were defects. So besides saying, yeah, Toyota has withdrawn on a number of occasions with their models, but they are not just the ones. Other industries do that as well. All right.
Yeah. Let's take this one. Can you see that one on the screen?
What systems, controls, or behaviors must be embedded to ensure the improved process does not regress over time? It's about monitoring. It's about monitoring. It's about monitoring. And this is where I will bring in what we call the PDSA, Plan, Do, Study, Act. You know, if you are using the PDSA, for instance, for little improvements, because PDSA is used for little improvements, that would help you to monitor, do little monitoring, little analysis. Then when you do that, you review. You know, it's about, that's why it's called a continuous improvement.
Yeah.
It's not like you get it right, you monitor, gather data, analyze, review, take corrective actions, then improve again. You know, so that's how it goes from step to step. So in that situation, rather than use the DMAIC methodology, I impute PDSA. We do that in the Southeast Coast Ambulance Services. We imputed PDSA into the improved stage of DMAIC methodology, so that when we can use that to monitor, the interventions and analyze them, review them, and take corrective actions. Yeah, thank you. I think
well done. Yeah, I think that's a good point to stop for now. And of course, I think I know you've got a lot. I mean, maybe you are halfway to your slides, but again, we will always have opportunity to ensure we can deliver the full dosage, if you like, so that people can actually benefit from the knowledge. It's been very inspiring and educative, actually. Thank you so much for that. And I believe, and thank you so much for Professor Adebi Agosede for your engagement and participation, always sharing your wealth from the wealth of your experience, knowledge, and expertise. Thank you as well. It's always constant, regular attending of our masterclass every month all the way from Nigeria, and also very active actively involved in encouraging and sharing knowledge. It's got so much wealth of knowledge as well. So I one of the people we respect in the academics. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if anybody has got anything else to say here, because I'm going to ask you, sir, because I know next month is going to be a bit of because it's the last month of the year. And as a matter of fact, we always want to end the year strong, actually, not because we want to be caught up with the festive moment, but also to be prepared for the coming year. And I think we have started on a good note from the month of November, which I will refer to the month where we need to actually reflect, re-strategize, and then plan. Next month should be the time you plan and set things on board, and then you can start rolling from January. You don't want to wait until then. So this is actually a time that we need things like what you are sharing with us to get us think, reassess what we are doing in our personal life, in our businesses, and so that we can then begin to put things in perspective and clarity by December, and then you can start launching out from next year, January. So I'm sure this is very good, and you will bear with us as you will have to. I know you're going to be working more on the next slides, but again, it's very engaging. It's very transformational as well. So I just want to ask if there's one thing, if we have to end on these notes today, and not necessarily end on your presentation, but at least where we have stopped now, what would be the concluding remarks, if you like, to help us and whet our appetite for waiting to the next one?
Well, the concluding remark is this. In the next class, one of the things I want to do is to put a practical example on use a business, is a real life business, to illustrate how we can use the DMAIC methodology to improve whatever we do. You understand? So So that's one of the things I really want to do, because I want it to be something that people can relate to, because it's actually what people can relate to. That's one of the things, and I want you to know that as a business person, or as an academia, or as a civil servant, wherever, or even as a student, these things are practicable. And if we can apply them and use them, it will help us a lot, even in our personal lives. I said earlier that was what I used for my son to improve his performance in school. I applied the Kaizen methodology, continuous improvement, which is a Lean Six Sigma methodology. It can be used anywhere. So I hope that we put this into practice. And if you have questions, send me a message. You can send a Gbenga message and he will forward that to me. Ask questions. And if you also need help in your businesses and whatever you're doing, it comes as a cost too. It's not free, to be honest with you. If we have to consult, then you have to.
Yes, it's what it's actually. It's a lot. It's indeed a top class masterclass. Thank you so much for your deliveries. Thank you for your presentation and the way you've packaged it and the way you've delivered on it. And thank you I'm not disappointed, because I won't expect less. So thank you so much, Kenneth. It's been a long time coming, and I know there are a lot more that we can share in terms of knowledge. This platform is a resource, platform where people can always go back and then, listen to the replay, or get back and then take information as they like. On it is free. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, and it's on LinkedIn, and it's always going to be there. So you can actually go back and listen to it again and make notes and use whatever you want to use. And indeed, if you need some clarifications or some further, help or support, please, or information you would like, please feel free to contact that guest speaker is also on LinkedIn. You can see in there. You can send him a message. You can send us a message. We will get back to you. But it's very important to acknowledge all of you who are participating tonight or who have been with us since we started this masterclass about over an hour and a half ago now. But it's worth it, and I think we have had a lot of information to digest and to work with. For me, the key takeaway today, and I know that it's going to continue next month, is that by applying DMAIC, into your life organization, can create a culture of continuous improvement, because all that is important is to make sure you get better, and and that will help you to make decisions, based on evidence rather than assumptions. So it's not what you really want. And I like the way you started off. Playing good music, spending your money to buy music is good, but to people, do they want to listen to that type of music? That's another thing you need to do, and that's deep actually. And this will also help you to generate operational gains that directly translate into cost savings, revenue growth, and customer value. Because the ultimate is that you are able to add value, and you do that effectively and efficiently. And I really want to thank you for that. That's my takeaway from today. So I want to thank you, Kenneth. I'm not sure if you have any one or two things to say before we wrap up now, and then waiting for the next one. If you do have something to say, please, it's a good time to say it. Otherwise, I will rather, express gratitude to the participants. Do you have one or two things to say, sir? Nothing.
It's okay. We'll carry on talking in the next class. Thank you.
Okay. So, and I also want to thank the technical team who are working behind the scene, making sure we were able to resolve the problem that we started off, and then, no technical problems throughout the presentation, which is fantastic. And we're going to be here again next month. So thank you for attending and participating in this masterclass. We hope you found it thought-provoking and enlightening. The insights and strategies shared today can actually help you build resilience and adapt, enabling you to move forward even after facing significant challenges. The world needs the best version of you and of your business. So if you have any question, like we said, or comment or inquiries, please visit our website at www.skillsmindset.com and leave us a message. One of our team members will reach out to you. We also encourage you to subscribe and follow us on our various platforms: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, even on X, formerly known as Twitter. So you don't have to miss any of our episodes in terms of our monthly masterclass as well. We also have some monthly or regular podcasts. So I urge you to approach every moment with courage and optimism. Keep pursuing your dreams with knowledge and unwavering passion. Until next time, take care and stay focused. But I'm sure we're going to do the next one in December, probably going to be after Christmas. So if we don't meet before Christmas, I wish you Merry Christmas, and we will meet before the end of the year. So I say thank you very much, and goodbye for now.
The world is changing, and so does change. But the mind has the potential to capture the changing world and make every change count. At Skillsmindset, the leading global skills, strategy and corporate development company, we believe that the mind has the potential of transforming the man from obscurity to prominence. It's the reason why we make skills our business. At Skillsmindset, we stand for change, for development and for success. We challenge, we inspire and we lead. With Skillsmindset, your limit is just the beginning. Welcome to Skillsmindset. For more information about the great service we provide, please visit our website on www.skillsmindset.com or give us a call on our UK number on 07957 676 193. Better still, send us an email on info@skillsmindset.com. Skills Mindset. Challenging limits, maximising opportunities.